You're listening to the Play Like a Girl podcast, episode number 8.
You play ball like a girl!
I'm Nikki B with Play Like a Girl, made just for female athletes.
I can be a girl in a man's game, a diamond in the dirt.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Play Like a Girl podcast. I'm your host, Nikki B. Here at Play Like a Girl, we aim to encourage more confidence in young women who play sports and give them the necessary tools and advice to have an amazing career in sports and beyond. If you are a young woman who plays sports and lives an active lifestyle, or you know one of these young women, I am so excited you are here. Each week, we will either bring you a guest in the sports world or have a roundtable discussion of the many taboo and important topics in the world of female sports. Are you with me? Let's change the game. All right, Flag listeners, today is going to be a fun episode because we are talking about the things that people do not talk about. We are talking about sports bras, tampons, periods, and everything female athletes have to deal with that guys don't. We are going to share some funny and embarrassing stories, so please don't judge because let's be honest, we've all been there. So today we have Michelle, she's our PLAG video producer. We have Myckena, she's a MaxPreps host and video editor. And we have Megan, MaxPreps product manager. And I'm so excited to have you ladies back, so thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you for talking about this topic because it is definitely one that's going to be interesting and maybe embarrassing, but it is definitely, I think, important to talk about and just be open with, right? Because all of us go through it as ladies. So before we dive into like the really interesting and taboo topics, let's first dive into hair, right? As females, we have like long hair for the most part that guys don't, and that's something we have to deal with. And we've all been there on the field or on the course or on the court where we have a hair tie or we're wrapping our hair up in our hair tie and it breaks. And like, what do you do? Have any of you been in that situation?
The worst. Hair ties or the headbands, when those break and you only have one and you're asking to borrow one or someone asks to borrow yours. It's the worst.
Yeah.
It really is.
Have any of you had to use a rubber band before? I've had to use a rubber band many times.
Yeah, I had to find one time because my hairband broke during a game, and then so I had to ask my coach if he had like a hairband or something because you can't play with your hair down, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
I feel like close to as bad as when it's super loose and you didn't realize it before the game, and so there's no many amount of times you could tie it around like for it to stay.
Oh,
so it's
the worst.
following the entire time anyways.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think that's absolutely the worst too. Like it's so loose and you're like, it's like going everywhere and it's just going to fall out and there's just, all hope is lost.
Yeah. Because of course you don't put your hair up till you get there. And you're like, probably should have put this up at home.
Totally. So I would recommend definitely having like a little, I don't know what to call it, a to-go bag or a little like emergency kit where you have those hair ties in there because guess what? If you don't need one, most likely your teammate or someone else that you're training with is going to need one.
Yeah.
My mom would do that when we would go on tournaments. She would like make a little kit so we all had extra stuff.
Yeah, maybe hair ties, maybe some deodorant,
Maybe bobby pins if you have too short of bangs.
Yeah, headbands, like all the necessary
KT
things.
tape, all that.
For sure. Yeah.
Electric tape to keep your shin guards up.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little emergency kit. Those come in handy. I'm having to create one for my wedding day. So yeah, it's like bringing me back to the days where I have my little like emergency kit for the golf course. Because for me as a golfer, when you're on the golf course, you're out there like 4 to 5 hours every day. So I'm like, I need all the things. Like I need to make sure I have everything so I'm prepared because if something happens, like I'm out in the middle of the golf course and it's going to take me at least 30 minutes to an hour to walk back to get to the parking lot. So, and most likely like my coach is on the, other end of the course and it's going to take him 30 minutes to get to me. So yeah, been there. It's not fun. Also another side note. So I know for a lot of girls, you necessarily can't wear a hat if you play a sport that's outdoors. But what I want to recommend to all the girls out there, because here's the thing, when you're out in the sun, your hair is not protecting your scalp. Like the sun is beating down through your hair. So if you can't wear a hat or a headband or have some sort of protection on your head, make sure you wear sunscreen or they have those like spray hair sunscreens that you can get to protect your scalp. Because I know for me as a golfer, like sometimes there'd be days I didn't want to wear a hat, and I regret it now because I have to get my scalp checked, and there's bumps I have on my head that I have to continuously get checked. So just make sure, ladies, if you play a sport that is outdoors, go, get checked for one. Make sure you're regularly getting checked by a doctor or something, and then also make sure you're wearing some sort of sunscreen on your scalp. Because I've had so many times where you get that really horrible like burn on your scalp, like on your like part. Flaky. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then you peel and
embarrassing. Yeah. You think you have like a ton of dandruff.
Oh yeah. Speaking of embarrassing, let's talk about some body image issues. One thing is awkward tan lines and bruises. I mean, how many awkward tan lines and bruises have you guys had?
So many. I also bruise ridiculously easy, which probably isn't good. And
are you anemic?
I don't know.
I think a lot of girls do though.
I think it's like in and out. Like there would be times where like my cousin always thought it was funny to like poke me or punch me and be like, "You're gonna bruise." I'm like, "No crap, I'm gonna bruise." Like exactly, yeah. So I mean, I bruise pretty easily, but then like you get pelted with a soccer ball and it gets really nice and big, and that's always embarrassing. And then you get the shin guard tan. That was always probably the worst.
Yoga tan.
Yeah, because like you basically had your knee was tan because you had your shin guards go up so high and your shorts go down so low. Right. Like your knees were the only thing tan. So that was never a good look. And then you have the shirt tan.
I thought the golfer tan was that. I mean, I had like the V-neck and then the...
but you're also out there longer.
Yeah.
So and I think it's different.
At least my like the bottom part of my legs, like my shins were tan, like my knees and shins.
Yeah.
But then I have the bad...
Ooh, sock tan
line.
Yeah, those
oh gosh, I got made fun of forever for that stupid tan line.
Swim tans are really bad too. Like the
back.
In the back, I know a lot of people that did swim and they had that all year long.
Oh yeah.
I feel like you got to wear it as a badge of honor though, right? Like just own it, rock it. Who cares? I mean, everyone knows you play a sport, for the most part at your high school, at your college. So who cares? Also, to that note, how about trying to find jeans that fit?
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
If you have muscular legs and they're not... Okay, back when there weren't stretchy jeans available
right.
all the time,
gosh.
and you're trying to find a pair of jeans that fit, the waist is always going to be too big because you got to fit it on your legs, or it looks like you just stuffed yourself tight pair of pants.
Oh yeah, I mean, thank God for stretchy jeans. Thank goodness for jeggings. I mean, whoever invented the jegging.
Oh my gosh, that was like life changing in high school for me.
Thank goodness to you,
Yeah.
whoever did that.
Yeah.
We love you. Oh yeah, I know. Do you guys find are there any brands of jeans that you guys have found, or pants, I guess, that you found? Any brands that work? I know a lot of girls that have like the bulky booty. They say American Eagle is a good one.
It's called Lululemon.
Yes, yes.
You just wear athletic gear all the time.
Yeah,
You're playing a sport.
I think that's the key.
Yeah,
just wear athletic gear
all
the time.
Yeah, no
I
jeans.
think that was the nice stage from jeans to jeggings, and then that's how we led ourselves into leggings and thinking that they're pants, and it's great.
Oh yeah, so true. Another topic. So Megan, you brought up this one before we started recording and I loved it. So team showers. I think that is something that a lot of girls don't realize. And actually in high school when you have PE, like sometimes you have to take showers with the rest of the girls, but also in college, like if you don't have to do that in high school, most likely you're going to have to do that in college. When you play a team sport, you're going to have to take team showers. And it's kind of awkward, right? Like especially when you're like kind of going through body image and like, trying to like be confident in who you are. It's kind of awkward like having to take a shower with, I don't know, 10 to 20 other girls.
I didn't grow up with sisters, and so I never in college it was like, oh, this is what this is how there's no curtain. Okay. All right, we're just gonna go with it, and you just kind of look to the wall and mind your own business, and then other girls are just looking at each other talking and soaping up, and I'm like, okay, I'm not there yet, but one day they're comfortable, they're seniors, I'm a freshman, so we'll figure it out, and eventually it works, but it is a shock the very first time you you do that.
I wonder if it was an easier transition back in the day, because like my mom would always tell me that they like had to shower, and now in high school like you don't have to. They don't.
Oh, no one does
They
it.
would never.
If you did it, you're weird. In my high school,
I
like
don't
at
think anyone
PE
showers.
especially, like oh my god, if people use those showers, it was super bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would always make sure that my
But you still got to change in front of each other, and you're just like doing
Right.
it fast. You
Yeah,
see that
that's
one girl
awkward.
like with different underwear than another
Oh
girl,
my
and they're
gosh.
making fun of each other, and you're just like, oh.
I totally remember in high school. Was it high school or middle school? Actually, I think it was middle school. But there were like some girls wearing like legit bras and like legit thongs and stuff.
Like they went to Victoria's
Yeah.
Secret and they bragged about it.
Yeah, no, and I remember in middle school, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm not even developed. I'm not there yet, you know? And it was so awkward because I had, like, I think in middle school, I still had, like, some sort of, like, a training bra. Like, it wasn't a real bra, and I definitely wasn't wearing thongs yet. And then I was like, what is this? Like, I'm like, I need to talk to my mom. Like, you know? And it's awkward. And even in high school, it was the same thing in PE. Like, you have to awkwardly change in front of everyone, and like you have to change from like your bra to your sports bra and like somehow figure it out. And like you said, it's like that weird little shimmy and like hiding.
Maybe that's why we got so good at just like changing underneath your own clothes.
Oh yeah,
I literally did that the other day in the car, and I was like, wow, still can do it. And I was like, why did we learn this?
Yeah, 100%.
Did you guys ever go to 6th grade camp?
I don't think so.
Probably.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. You kind of had to change in front of people then too, and that was a little bit awkward because you're just coming out of elementary school. And that was
Yeah,
right.
I didn't have sisters either, so that was super weird for me. Like I had friends that would sometimes just change, and you're like, I don't know where to look. I don't know what to do with my hand. Like this is weird. I don't like this. Like why are you changing right here? Like there's literally a bathroom right there, and they're like, what does it matter? I'm like, I don't know. I have brothers. We don't do this.
I mean, it makes sense though. I mean, we're all girls. We all got the same body
Oh, it completely
parts.
makes sense. But when you grow up, like you said, you grow up with brothers, and it's like, what?
But sometimes I feel like guys have less shame than girls do.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
I feel
Yeah,
like
but like they're not going to do that in front of their sisters. So
No,
it's like,
no.
But I feel like I wonder if it's easier for guys to change, like the whole locker room thing. Like I wonder if it's
I think they think it's funny to change in front of each other.
Yeah, that's true.
to show off in front of each other.
Like I hear stories sometimes, and I'm like, what? Why did you guys do that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I wonder. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's a good question to ask a guy or not, but I'm kind of curious to know, like, if there's a difference between, you know,
But they also
girl
don't have
locker
as
rooms
much
and guy locker rooms.
I don't know if this is a stretch, but I feel like it sometimes doesn't seem as they have as much body image issues, like with society and stuff. So they're they're more confident in the fact that who cares? Whatever.
I don't think it's like that they don't have it, but I think it's different than what we have.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely different. And then also too, like, I think for guys, like, it doesn't matter what kind of underwear they wear, you know, like, but for girls,
and it's like, oh, you have boxers or brief. Like it's not as like it's not like embarrassing enough where they couldn't go get that thing.
Totally.
I knew girls that their moms wouldn't let them wear thongs, and they were just devastated. They'd steal them, or like like they'd take their friends and like or tell their friends to buy them some, and
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So
No, I think women are just so different in our body shapes as well, and we're all going to develop a different. And for boys, it's like, okay, you get taller at a different age. But for women, we're developing in different ways. We get curvy at certain ages, or we never get curvy, and we wonder why, and we compare ourselves to all this wide array of bodies and that we could have, don't have, do have. And so it's confusing, right? Because you don't know if, like, am I going to look like her one day, or am I not supposed to be this developed, or, you know, what's wrong? You kind of question because we are all so different. Also, men in the locker room, they're used to taking their shirts off anyway. You know, it's okay to do that. But with women, we've got, like, a lot more to cover up, too.
That's
so
true.
I feel
Totally.
like
they're already half naked and it doesn't faze them.
Yeah, you're constantly, you know, covering up if you're unsure in those situations as well.
Right. No, that's so true. I know for me, that was totally a question I had. I'm like, am I going to like have as big as boobs as this girl one day? Like, I would totally wonder, like, am I going to develop one day? Unfortunately, that never happened for me, but
the answer was no.
The answer is no. Like, but I've come to the realization, like you said, like, we're all different. Like, we all have different curves. Like, I never thought I would get curves. I ended up getting curves, and like, you know, it's just, we're all so different, you know, but like, it didn't pan out the way I thought it might pan out. But at the end of the day, then I realized too, I'm like, looking back now, I'm like, there was probably only a couple girls in like middle school or high school that were actually developed. And like, here I am thinking that like, I'm so behind, but really, you know, I think that's something to think about too. Like, we're all different, and like, we all, are beautiful in our own ways. And like, it's okay whether you're like developed or not developed or whatever it may be, you know?
But if you are developed, like, don't be self-conscious about it.
No,
it's
not
like,
at all.
You know, just own it.
Totally.
You can't help what your body is doing.
Totally. Yeah. I think, definitely accepting, you know, whatever God gave you, accept it the way it is. All right. So what about, this is a fun, maybe not so fun topic, but acne. So I know for high school girls, breakouts are a huge thing. I mean, as like in high school and college, you're still developing, like we just were talking about, and breakouts happen. I think a lot of times for girls, obviously it's very self-conscious, you know, when you have breakouts and acne and you want to cover it up and all of that. So what do you girls think about wearing makeup during a game? Because I know that if you're getting breakouts, like you don't really want to like clog your pores more by wearing makeup, and especially you're sweating during a game and everything. But what are your thoughts on that, on girls wearing makeup or no makeup during a game?
I think it's a personal preference. I mean, I remember I wore makeup during games and practices and stuff, but I was also coming from school and everything. But I don't think it's an issue. I think it's up to the person. I mean, some people in high school still didn't even wear makeup, so that's kind of a personal choice.
And I think it's a look good, feel good type thing. You want to have your uniform looking right. You want to look good you want to feel good in the way you look. In basketball, it was the shoes, right? You want to have the best shoes. And so it goes from head to toe, right? You still want your girls would wear bows in their hairs, like those types of things too. If they feel good, you know, then you're not worried about that part. Maybe you could just play the game a little bit better. You can stay focused because you know that part is taken care of maybe, and you can focus on the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's better to not wear makeup, obviously. Like you said, you'd come from school or whatever, and I would never wouldn't clean my face before I'd go to like practice or something. But I mean, obviously it's better for your skin not to, but I mean, to try to tell a 13-year-old she can't wear makeup and she feels more comfortable in it.
Totally. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, look good, play good. And I'm all for that. And I know, like, in college, there would be some people that would make fun of this one girl. She was on the basketball team and she would just wear like a, you know, full face of makeup. And I was like, screw that. Like, if that's what makes her feel good, that's what makes her feel good. And like, look she's probably playing better than you ever could, you know? So, and I know for me, like when I was golfing, I totally wore makeup on the golf course. And there would be some days if it was super hot, I wouldn't, because it would just melt off anyway. And I'd say it's not even worth it. But I totally do. And I like nowadays too, I even wear like a tinted sunscreen. Like I'm definitely wearing, you know, because I like to feel good. I don't want to like go out there and not feel my best, because if I don't feel my best, then I'm most likely not going to play my best. So
I mean, now when I go to the gym, I don't wear makeup anymore.
Yeah,
I don't
me
even
neither.
anymore, but
No.
yeah. But I also, so in high school, I played basketball and I cheered. And cheer, you have to wear makeup or you're going to get in trouble too. And because you all have to be like uniform and everything. And some teams like to look uniform as well, like basketball or whatever you play.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny. So for me, as far as breakouts go, I never really got it super bad on my face, but I did get it like all over my back. So I had to go to a dermatologist because there was like nothing working for me. Like literally my whole back was covered. And for me, I think it's because with golf, like I'm guessing it was just because we were out there sweating in the heat all day long. We would wear our, you know, carry our golf bags. So I think the straps were just like rubbing against my sweaty back. And then, you know, my, like in my golf swing, like you're moving and like the t-shirts rubbing, or the polos like rubbing against your back. So I definitely like, I know I didn't get it on my face as bad, but on my back it totally, and like for me during summertime, I was like, I'm never gonna wear a tank top. Like I'm never, you know, it was so embarrassing to like get out and like, I don't know, even going swimming or things like that. And I didn't want people to look at my back. And I'm like, I'm lucky that it wasn't on my face, but at the same time, like it still sucked, you know?
Yeah. Definitely. I remember I was a catcher playing softball, and so you get the forehead and you get the chin, and those are definitely, you know, two problem areas. And I was like, well, you have to just wash your face. Like you can't just let it sweat and it's going to get dirt in there and it's sitting on your face. And so it was just a conversation and just something to be more aware of. And you know, before you start to get acne, you don't worry about washing your face all the time. And then you start to wear makeup and then you don't always wash it off at the end of the night. And so just taking care of your face in general, taking care of those areas in general is going to just be better long term. You just have to be more aware of, you know, what you're putting on your body.
Definitely. Yeah, I think having a good skincare regimen is so important, and especially as a young girl, like you said, you don't really think about it until like you kind of get to that age where you start wearing makeup, and then like once the breakout happens, you're like, oh no, what do I do now? But I think, you know, maybe even before it happens or after it happens, you gotta get a good skincare regimen. And as annoying as it is to take off the makeup and wash your face every night, like you gotta get into a good habit of doing it, because it'll just help your skin later on. I mean, I know for me, I never go without washing my face at night now. Like there's absolutely no way. And I wish I would have done that when I was younger, because it probably would have alleviated a lot of problems.
Yeah, I think showering.
Yes.
I think that's like huge, like that's good advice too. If you're gonna wear makeup to the game, wash it right after, because if you wash your face right after, it'll make it so much better for your like skin to breathe, even though it's like you had it on during the game. If you wash it right after, it'll be, the faster you do it, the better.
Yeah. No, and it's funny, one of my friends, Molly, she's a makeup artist, but she says like the best thing for good makeup is a good skincare routine. So, you know, I think that's so important to think about. She was like, it lays the foundation for your makeup. So definitely having a good skincare routine, because like you said, like, you know, I mean, the more breakouts you have, the more you're going to want to cover them up. But if you have a good skincare routine, the less makeup you'll have to use, and the more money you'll be saving anyway on all that makeup. Definitely with a good skincare regimen. I know I talk about it all the time, but wear your sunscreen if you're outside. I cannot stress that enough. As a golfer, just wear your sunscreen. Michelle always laughs at me because I always bring this up, but I'm like,
because you got sunburned right after you brought it up.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, still to this day, like it's a reminder for me too. But like, there's so many times when I was younger that I got sunburned on the golf course, and I just, looking back, I'm like, why was I so stupid and not like reapplying and putting on sunscreen?
Especially
like,
with spray sunscreen nowadays.
Oh my gosh,
when I was younger,
so
we didn't
easy,
have that.
right?
I would never put it on.
Yeah, it's just so easy. Like it takes 5 seconds to spray on some sunscreen and make sure you don't get burned. But yeah, I just think it's very important for later on in life.
And if you don't really use sunscreen, because I'm a bad habit that I don't, because I don't really get sunburn, I just get a little bit darker. But I use a face lotion from Olay. It has, you get to moisturize your skin, and you get like a little sunscreen.
Yeah.
So that always helps.
And the great thing about nowadays, like none of these products were out when I was in high school or college, but now they have like tinted sunscreens and like, you know, so many products, like almost every single foundation out there has
it's
sunscreen.
Like SPF 15.
Yeah. So definitely, like, I would say get a foundation or a tinted sunscreen or a tinted moisturizer that has SPF in it. Yeah. And you'll be good to go.
Since your friend is a makeup artist, has she ever said if there's a good foundation, like if you are playing sports or anything like that?
Well, there is one. So she actually uses it for weddings too. So she mixes It Cosmetics, the CC cream, and it has sunscreen in it. She mixes that with a different foundation for weddings, and I highly recommend that one. That one's so good. There's also one that I use. It's a tinted sunscreen from Shiseido, however you pronounce it. That one's really good, and it's waterproof and sweat resistant, so it's amazing.
Shiseido? Where do you get that at?
Ulta, wherever. Shiseido. It's really good. Yeah, but then there's also like, she even uses for weddings, she uses like the L'Oreal Infallible. Like, there's so many. I mean, I don't think that has SPF in it, but yeah, you can even find drugstore brands that have SPF in them, and are good to go. So. Cool. Step up your training regimen with Pods Nutrition. With Pods, getting in my protein after a workout, even on the go, is easier than ever. Leveling up with these water-soluble pods filled with 28 grams of high-quality protein is as simple as drop, shake, and drink. Use code PLAG15 for 15% off at checkout at pods.com. That's PODZ.com. With Pods Nutrition, you can finally get your gains and find your time. All right, so let's now get into the fun topics. I think what we're talking about is great and fine and dandy, but these are the very taboo topics that nobody talks about. So first off, let's talk about sports bras. So like I said earlier, like I didn't really develop, like I have to wear sports bras, but like at the same time, I'm not as developed as some other ladies who like, it's difficult to find a good sports bra that like really fits. But I feel like we've all been there, like finding the right one and finding one that works, realizing you're wearing the wrong one during a game or training.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you guys been there before?
So many times. Like you'll be on the soccer field or something, and this happened to me recently. I literally put on a sports bra because there's sports bras that are better for just like going for a walk or like I just want to wear workout clothes today. You want to go for a run? That's not the right sports bra. Or like lifting weights, you don't really need like something super secure. And then you get on the soccer field and you're like, I didn't think this through at all. Like at all.
I remember one time, like, because I would always pack my bag the night before, and the one thing that I forgot to put in was my sports bra.
No.
And I was a little bit more developed at the time, so that was not good. I just had a regular bra, and I was like,
working out in a regular bra is
no, it was a game. You felt so.
What did you do?
I just felt so self-conscious, but like then I got it out.
Yeah. So what did you just had to wear a regular bra, during your basketball game?
It was like pink.
Oh my God, did it show?
Well, the strap would come out sometimes, and I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
You always pack as your sports bra.
Oh man, that is a good one.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
Okay. Sports bras, like sunblock, we're putting our kit together.
Yes,
seriously.
Your
extra
emergency
sports bras.
Yes, your emergency kit. Yeah.
And nothing's worse too when I'm a runner, and when you have the wrong sports bra on a long run. I remember finishing like a half marathon and literally had scabs, like a full outline of this crappy sports bra. You get in the shower and it is the worst pain ever because the sweat is getting into all the little like chafing marks. So that part is the worst. So find something that you can do long workouts in that doesn't hurt, because there are some out there. Don't feel like you have to suffer through it. That's a mistake that I made too, is I was like, but it's this brand, and I knew that like it was a good brand and I paid a lot for it. It does not matter. It's your body's going to be different than anyone else's.
Kind of like jeans.
Yes, it's very personal. So make a personal choice to not suffer through it, because there are great ones out there, and you just need to find the right ones.
Yeah. Sometimes they're too thick and like it just feel, I don't know. There's a lot of issues with them.
Yeah. So test it out before you have a game or before you have a long distance run like a marathon or a half marathon. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about the fact like chafing and like having, because the stitching sometimes like you don't really you don't think about that, but I'm sure I don't know if you wore it before, but then if you're on a run that's 13.1 miles long, and then halfway through you're like, oh, what do I do? Oh no.
Or use Aquaphor. That is a great one to rub like on on the places where it might rub a little bit.
Definitely.
Put that in your kit.
Yes.
I heard putting baby powder too
interesting.
helps.
They have, for runners especially, they have that like chafing, it looks like a little deodorant, but it's like a chafing cream. So like whenever
it's like a glide,
body glide. So I used it for when I did some half marathons, because sometimes I would wear shorts, and I put it in between my legs and between my thighs, because that hurts. That hurts. And then you could use it too, I'm sure, for your sports bras. So definitely, I mean, I would use it for games too. That's a smart idea.
But it is hard when like you might have probably used that sports bra for a couple mile run or like 6 mile run. You're like, oh, not a big deal. And then you get to the
13. Oh gosh, I can't even imagine. And then showering after. Yikes.
And cute doesn't always mean comfortable either.
100%.
Yes,
definitely. Yeah. And with sports bras too, leggings, I think finding a good pair of leggings or shorts when you're working out or training in your game.
That is the worst. Like,
and that is the difference too.
Like yoga pants or like they're too big on the waist, and you're like
pulling them up.
That's one thing guys do not have to deal with. Like
shorts are riding up, pants are riding down. You're like, what is happening?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's funny because like I try and use shorts when I work out, but like I just don't like them because like my thighs rub together and it hurts, and like I don't want my thighs going like this every time I run. Like it's just not comfortable. So I like wearing leggings, but then with leggings, like if they're not high-waisted enough, like my butt crack is hanging out. Like it's just, and I don't think like guys, they just throw on a pair of basketball shorts and they're good to go.
Always good to go.
Yeah. It's just these are the things that guys don't realize that us women just, have to go through. And the leggings might look great, on the girls, and you might like them, but guess what? They're probably like pulling them up every 5 seconds.
Yeah, always bring like a jacket or a little shirt that you can tie around your waist to, just in case that happens.
Oh yeah,
it does.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, maybe even like a I don't know, extra shoelace or something to hold them up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, what about, so I don't know if you girls have ever experienced anything like I have. I'm about to tell a very embarrassing story. So as girls, like, we can't just like go to the bathroom wherever we want to go. Like, we can't just, go to a bush and like whip it out and relieve ourselves.
I mean,
unfortunately,
you could, but it's frowned upon.
Yeah, you could pop a squat, but most likely it's frowned upon. So it's different for golf because you're out there like 4 to 5 hours, sometimes even 6 or 7 if it's a very long round and people are playing slow. But a lot of times, like, there's only 1 or 2 bathrooms on the entire golf course. Like, there's 18 holes, and there's only 2 bathrooms. So, like, maybe 1 every 9, or just, like, 1 for the entire golf course. So, I think I just have a small bladder, and there's probably been multiple times, but I've definitely, like, not made it to the bathroom.
Oh, jeez.
100%. So, I don't know if any of you ladies have ever dealt with that, but, like, being in a game and, like, having to use the bathroom, like, what do you do, I guess, like, in a basketball game, like, and, like, are you able to go, like, quickly and, like, if you have to go?
And they're a lot shorter, too.
Yeah, they're
I
like
know.
hour and a half.
Yeah.
So that's, like, maybe 2 holes for you. Like, as a game.
Wow.
Like, 3 holes, yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we basically go before, go after.
Mm-hmm.
Or halftime.
Yeah, halftime. Gotta go to the bathroom.
Lucky
and there's,
you guys.
like with basketball, it's usually in a gym. There's bathrooms right there.
Yeah.
Probably 2 feet. You run to them really quick, and yeah. Sorry, Nicolette.
Yeah, happy I just shared that story with you guys. I'm the only one. It's fine. I mean, granted, it's not like I completely went all the way, okay? I just, like, maybe, like, just a little bit. Just a little dribble here or there.
Well, if you're a runner, too, and you're not trying to,
Oh,
and you're
that's so
trying
true.
to set records, and there have been, and then this isn't just unique to women. It's, It would be runners in general. They would have.
Don't a lot of runners, like, actually, like, go on themselves if they're trying, like...
I never have personally.
But I've heard I know, but I've heard runners
I
do
just
that
wear
before.
a diaper prior to that. Like, really, like, if you're gonna, like, go like that, like, just be a little more prepared.
Yeah.
It seems really weird just to, like, drip it all the way down your leg.
Because you run marathons, right?
Yeah, but I would stop and use one of the things and restart my own
Do some people
time.
use, like, catheters?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh,
my
gosh,
I wonder.
that's insane. I did a half marathon, and by the way, I'm not a runner. I played soccer, but I am not a runner. My friend somehow convinced me to do this half marathon. Thought it'd be great. Yeah, so much fun. And she is a runner. This girl is one of the most in shape people I know. Her, like, I'm out of shape is what I could ever dream of being in shape. And so we did this half marathon, and she's like, oh, I have to pee super bad. I was like, oh, darn, like, you should stop and pee. Because I'm thinking, like, great, we finally get to stop, get to take a break. Well, that hurt too much, so I literally ran farther waiting for her to go to the bathroom and, like, ran back to her because I couldn't stop running because it just hurt too bad. I would have just, like, quit at mile, like, 9. And I'm like, people that do an entire marathon, I'm too shady, you guys, because half was hard enough.
Yeah. Well, I'll open up our next topic with another embarrassing story. I should probably just wear a diaper when I do live run or golf or whatever. But periods. So I was on a run with my mom one time and didn't know that I was about to start. We were on, thankfully, we had just started, but I was wearing shorts, and, like, the shorts have, like, the lining in them. Yeah. So I wasn't wearing underwear. I was just wearing the shorts with the lining. Literally, we get out. I think we only ran, like, half a mile, and maybe it was a mile. Half a mile. And my mom and I are, like, trekking along, and I go, oh, no. I go, Mom, I got to turn around. I got to go home. And she was like, why? I was like, I think I just started my period. And here I am, like, awkwardly sprinting back because I'm, like, trying to keep my legs as close together as possible. And, like, I want to get back fast enough. And, like, I don't know what to do. But, yes, like, I have totally been there where, like, you start your period. You didn't know you were going to start. Have any of you been there before?
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know. I forgot where I was, but I started my period one time super early, and I had to use toilet paper as, like, a makeshift pad until I got to where I needed to go. And, like, I think I maybe as a kid used pads maybe once and was like, I can never do that again. And I switched immediately. So, like, that was awful. But I never really had to. at least off the top of my head, that I can think of like specific times. It probably happened more and I just blacked it out. But I remember one time going on a run. Again, it wasn't much of a runner, so I'm really still shocked that I ran this time. But went for a run and I was coming home and I all of a sudden got the worst cramps I've ever had. I don't get cramps very often. It really has never been too much of an issue for me. It's pretty sporadic if I get them. And I literally couldn't make it into the house. I curled in a ball in the fetal position on my parents' driveway because I was still living there. I think I might have been in high school. And I like rolled underneath their boat that happened to be in the driveway to like get under shade and just like lay there in the fetal position until it went away. It was horrible. Like horrible. I'm like, that was the only reason I knew when girls said their cramps were bad, that it existed. And I was like, girl, you stop playing that, because that does not feel good. Like, oh my God, cramps are horrible.
Yeah, totally. And speaking of cramps, like you said, you didn't really get them a lot, but you then in that moment understood for all the girls who have sat out before. I mean, what do you think for our female listeners? Like, if they have really bad cramps, like, do you sit out? Do you take a break? Like from a game? Like, what do you do if like the pain is like just so bad you don't think you're going to be able to concentrate? And especially, what do you do if you don't feel comfortable telling your coach?
I think that if it is that time of the month or whatever and you do have a game or you have practice, make sure that you take Advil or Tylenol.
Your
or
kit.
Motrin.
Add them to the kit.
Yes. Probably like an hour before so it kicks in, and then you should be pretty good to go.
Yeah.
But I've never really been someone that, I have a very high pain tolerance, so I've never really had to deal with that matter. But if you do, I mean, hopefully that Motrin helps. But if not, I think we talked about this, that you should go to the doctor.
Yeah, definitely. I think, for me, my cramps weren't the worst. I did get on birth control at about 17 years old because I actually had not cramps, but I had very bad hormonal migraines. So for me, it was kind of different. It wasn't cramps, but I did have the migraines that came along with my cycle, and that totally took me out. Like, if I got a migraine, I was out for the rest of the day until the very next day. Typically it would like come on, it would come on probably noon or later, and then it would slowly come on, take a couple hours, and then it would just hit me like a ton of bricks and I would be out. Like, sound, noise, same thing. Sound, like, everything bothered me. Like, I had to be in a dark room, had like a, cold washcloth over my head. So like, I get it. Like, cramps, like they were not too bad for me, fairly tolerable, but I totally understand. Like, if you're in pain, it's okay to sit out a game. Like, you're obviously not in.
I think it's up to your discretion. I mean, like, if you think you can still play and it sucks, like, just play. If it doesn't, then tell your coach, or if you feel uncomfortable telling, if it's a male, like, just, I don't know, say your ankle hurts or something.
I would just say, like, tell him you're not feeling, or him or her, that you're not feeling well. Just like, I don't know, or you have a stomach ache. Normally when you say I have a stomach ache, they'll understand, and I think they'll know what's going on. But definitely don't let you being embarrassed, like, take that away from you going to your coach and telling them, like, hey, I gotta sit out, or at least like take a 5-minute break. Like, I need to sit out for just 5 minutes. Also too, but with like what you said, if the pain is so excruciating that like you cannot move and it's just unbearable, definitely like look into it. Go to a doctor, talk to your mom, talk to an adult that you trust. Because sometimes if it's super excruciating, like, that's actually not okay. There may be something wrong there. So definitely just look into it. I mean, as girls, cramps happen, the pain happens, but if it's so bad that you just can't function with daily life, definitely go see a doctor for sure.
But definitely don't be one of those people who uses it as an excuse to get
Yes.
mind drills.
Never use as an
Lose your
excuse.
respect, and that's just not cool. It's
Well,
not cool for your
and
team.
that's kind of the issue, is that people have used it as an excuse. So then when people say I have cramps, they're like, oh, it's not even that bad. So then, like, the girls who don't have it that bad, and guys don't think it's that bad, it's like when you actually have cramps, no one believes you, and you're like, I literally cannot move. But
Totally.
okay.
Personally, like, I would be one of those people that'd be really irritated if someone's like, I can't come to practice, or I can't do the game because.
And I
of that
have had
situation.
friends who, like, they got back, like, cramps in their their lower back, and it was just like excruciating, where she'd just be sitting on, like, against the goalpost, just like, don't mind me, hold on, like, I don't feel so good. So I mean, I know it happens, but don't be the one who's over dramatic just because you don't want to do something.
Totally. Oh yeah, no. I'm saying if you get cramps or if you're in pain, like, make sure you're actually in pain. Don't ruin it for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Along with cramps, I think it's also important too, and Megan, you brought this up before we recorded the podcast, is cycle tracking. And I think that's kind of important for girls to know. Because one, it's probably smart to know when you're going to start your period, because if it's around game time, you want to be prepared. You don't want a moment like I had where I'm out running and then, you know, half a mile in, I'm like, oh shoot, I have started. I got to go back in. So you just want to make sure.
Don't wear white pants.
Yeah, don't wear white pants. You want to make sure you're prepared. You have, you know, your pads and your tampons and everything. You have your Advil or Motrin, whatever you take. You want to make sure you're good to go. There's a bunch of apps out there. I know, Megan, you recommended one.
Not necessarily for cycle tracking specifically,
but there's apps out there.
Yeah, you can search for them. There'll be some there.
Definitely.
But if your period is abnormal, it's normal. Because
right.
you're still going through all those changes, especially in high school.
Totally.
And even in college.
Yeah, and I think it takes a couple years for from when you first get your period for everything to like sync up and be like in a normal cycle where you can like, when you know, like, okay, today's the day I'm going to start. So definitely, I think that's important to know too. Like, you're still developing, still growing. But also with cycle tracking, I think it's important to train properly for it. So I actually, I have a friend, her name is Caitlin Pimentel. Her Instagram name is Felix Fortis Golf Fitness. And I was a part of a Facebook group of hers, and I never really knew this, but she said it's important to train based on your cycle. And I just thought this information was so important. Of course, you have to do whatever your coach says, whatever your trainer says. Like, you shouldn't say no to that. But if you're training on your own, I think the information she gave was very valuable. She said that when you're on your cycle, so day 1 through 7, you should do yoga or some sort of a gentle workout, because your body has just like come out of your period phase. Day 8 through 22, you want to do high intensity workouts. That's when you can really like lift weights, go hard, you know, really like put pedal to the metal. And then day 23 to 28 is conditioning. So sweat it out, like sweat it out, rid your body of those toxins, and really like, get your heart rate going. Which I never knew that beforehand, but I think it makes sense. And I think the more you do that, the more in tune with your body that you'll be. And I think overall, it'll probably help your training. But yeah, I thought that was pretty good information.
I think another thing that people, especially in high school, I remember like I would freak out a little bit about it, but you always gain sometimes like water weight and like gain 5 pounds, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, am I gaining weight? But no, like that, just drink plenty of water, make sure you're eating the right foods, and that water weight will go away.
Yeah, and I think that goes with the day 23 to 28, like just sweating it out, like sweating your body, like sweating all that water weight out, the toxins out of your body, just like letting everything go. And it's okay. We've all been there.
So I think one of the things that separates, this is obviously a big separator for women and men, is they don't have these necessarily like hormonal changes where they have 4 weeks where they're feeling different every week. And
men PMS though, I'm just saying. They do.
Different PMS.
Yeah.
You want to name any names? Are you?
Anonymous.
And so I think it's important to know, like, if you are not feeling it that day, that's okay. You're not going to be the same athlete you are every single day. And there's a lot of factors that go into being a woman, and there's a lot of things that we deal with. And so roll with it though. Don't, you know, if you are cramping or you are emotional, then, you know, take it and realize it, notice it, and then move on from it, or get past it. Know that that's a part of you, and that's a part of your body, and that's part of the changes that happen when you're in a certain age. So don't let that be the end all be all. This isn't like, oh, I can't hack it anymore. It's, I'm having an off day. And that could be mentally as well. There's so many different factors that go into it, but just know that for women, you're not going to be super on all the time, and you're maybe only going to be able to do yoga sometimes. You're only going to be able to do that high intensity training at certain points. You're not going to have it every day. And go for a run, do something a little bit different, and don't feel like it's you know, it's going to be like this the rest of the time. That 5 pounds is not going to stay on. Know that those things are going to sway up and down, and roll with the punches, ride the wave, and it's going to be all right.
I think that's great advice, because I mean, that kind of goes along with being able to track your cycle, because I remember when I was younger, I didn't track it as much, and all of a sudden you get emotional, and all of a sudden you're like, why am I so emotional?
Why am I crying?
Oh, I'm starting my period tomorrow. Right. Okay. And it's like, once you get older and start realizing you're tracking your period, it's like, oh, I'm starting my period this weekend. You're not as emotional because you understand, like, you start to, and you're like, oh, yeah, never mind. It's not that big of a deal.
Totally.
So I think that's huge also.
And I would say too, like, even if you're on birth control, like, you still get emotional. Like, the PMSing and everything, the emotions are still there.
Oh, so, for sure.
Yeah, just like, don't think that if you're on birth control, like, you shouldn't have all these emotions, because it's just a part of life. Like, it's a part of being a woman. And like you said, it's okay to have off days. Like, accept it. Figure out, like, what you can do to make the most of it, and then move on, because, you know, a couple of days from now, you'll probably have a better day. But with that, I love how you brought it, like, up getting emotional and everything. So with PMSing, I think all of us have had those moments where we're just like crying on the golf course or on the field or on the course for like no reason. And you're like, why am I crying? Like, I hit one bad shot. Why am I crying? I don't understand. Have any of you had like really emotional, either like, you know, anger or sadness, or even like really like happy emotions, where you think it's probably due to your cycle?
I don't know if I had one like specific moment I could really think of.
You never cried on the soccer field?
Well, probably because my dad was my coach and he was super intimidating. But like, I don't know. I don't really. Maybe I should take my sport more seriously. I mean, I don't know. Our team was pretty good. So like, even if one of us had a bad day, it was like, whatever. We usually won. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember there's been times where I've been emotional on the golf course, whether it's like anger or sadness, and I'm like, gosh.
Golf is a stressful sport.
It is. It is
a stressful mind sport.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
That probably, yeah. But
I literally, every time my brothers come home, or like my dad comes home from playing golf, I absolutely hate golf. I'm never playing it again the next day. Oh my God, I love golf. Guess what I just shot today? And I'm like, okay.
Well, true. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like golf isn't the only sport, because I see it all the time. Like, for example, Serena Williams just lashed out at a ref during a tennis match, and the media world went crazy because what did she call it? She called him a liar or a thief.
Yeah.
She called him a thief. And she lashed out, and people went nuts, you know, saying that she was super emotional and went crazy, and like talking about her hormones because she just like had a baby, and so she's going through all her pregnancy hormones. But I just thought it was so interesting that, you know, the world was freaking out about what she said. So, because guys do it all the time, right? Like, I've seen so many times, like, I've watched golf tournaments.
They break the rackets,
yeah, they
break their clubs.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it, like, oh my gosh, basketball games, football games, baseball games where fights break out.
Yeah.
You see it all the time, but, like, when a female does it, it's like, oh my gosh, like, she's crazy.
Yeah, she's PMSing and he's
Yeah.
just a hothead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why do you think that's different for females?
I don't know. I feel like even at work, I mean, if we're all emotional here or something, which, I mean, none of us are, but they'd be like, oh, it's that time of the month again.
Yeah.
Like,
They're all cycled up.
I literally just said that you were being rude because you said something so rude. But yeah, I don't know. I wonder do you think there's a difference between a sport that's a team sport and something that's not a team sport? Because you just compared it to tennis as golf. Do you think there's a difference, like having your teammates around you where it was like a bad shot and your team's like, you're good, like, let's go, let's keep going. Like, you kind of have their support of like, if one teammate's not doing as well that day, like you pick up their slack and you kind of work together. Do you think that's part of it?
Maybe, because I guess when I think about like team sports, like I only really see fights break out for, you know, male sports, like in baseball or football or basketball. I never really see the women, teammates going at each other. Have you?
I've covered a game, actually. And Zach can be attest to that because it was his dad's program thing. But these two teammates, they like just started fighting. Like they literally threw a punch at each other. And then one girl like stormed off. And then later she came back. And they were fine.
Oh, that's funny.
Wait, the teammates fought?
The teammates
fought.
The
teammates fought.
The teammates fought.
Oh,
Not
wow.
like opposite team. Teammates.
Oh.
They had a boy
So I don't
issue
know.
probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's probably all related to a boy.
It was crazy though. That was the first time I've ever seen like two teammates fight.
What sport was it?
Basketball. Yeah.
Well, so to this point, do you think it's okay? Like, do you think it's okay for females to like show some anger or show some emotion during a game? I think for me personally, I think that as long as it's respectful, it's okay. Like, I think if you want to, like, scream or cry or whatever, like, that's fine as long as you're not doing it towards someone else.
I think you're going to have emotion no matter what. I mean, just as human beings, like, either if you're a girl or a guy, I don't think it necessarily means that you're PMSing or whatever, but I think if you care about something, like, you're going to get irritated. I know, like, even when I'm watching football games on TV, I'm getting irritated at the refs, or I'm getting irritated, you know, like, just for certain plays, but I just think if you care about something enough, but it doesn't necessarily mean that
you should punch them in the face. Don't do that.
I don't know what I was talking about now, but kind of lost track.
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, Serena, I don't know if she really should have called the ref a thief, but at the same time, you know, when you're in the heat of the moment, you're in the heat of the moment.
Guys say things all the time. I'm going to say that it was kind of on the ref. Like, he was a little bit soft during that moment. Like, guys say 100 times worse of things to refs in every single game, and they do not get a penalty or get any type of anything happen to them. I mean, in hockey, they're literally in the ref's face about to hit him, and it's like, it's okay, guys, separate a little bit, okay? And it's like, she calls him a thief, which is like, I don't even know how that could be so... She didn't say a slur. She didn't say anything. And he goes, I think that was kind of on him, in my opinion, because...
But I think, I mean, of course the media is going to eat it up because it's Serena Williams.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like the best female athlete, like, known to mankind.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Well, what about tampons and leaking? I know I shared one of my story. Any other funny stories that you ladies can share? Anybody? Anybody? Am I the only one with a funny story?
No, but I think there are certain sports that it's that you actually really need to use a tampon for instead of what's it called?
Pad.
Yes. Like swimming, you can't, wear a pad in the pool or it could fall off.
Can I share a funny story? Another one?
Yeah,
the
go
first
ahead.
time
We're all like, oh shoot, okay, she took this, go for it.
So my funny story, the first time I ever used a tampon was in a Barnes and Noble.
Oh my gosh.
So I wasn't tracking my cycle, and my period came, and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? I was with one of my friends, and she's a couple years older than me.
You were tracking your cycle, but you hadn't started your period yet?
No, I wasn't tracking my cycle.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, you hadn't started it before. How would you be tracking it?
No, I wasn't tracking my cycle.
Okay.
So
sorry, is this where you learned how to use one?
Yeah. So
okay.
She didn't help me or anything, but like she was like, all I have is a tampon, and I'm like, oh no, I don't use those yet. I don't know what grade I was in. I don't even know if I was in high school yet. I might have been. I don't know. I developed pretty later on in life, guys. But anyway, and so, so I had to just like figure out how to use it. And so shout out to that Barnes & Noble. It's not there anymore, but had some great memories there.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, that was just my funny story.
I think, and that's a perfect example though. If you get caught where you need help, there's always a female who's been through the same thing.
Oh
so
yeah.
And I feel like it's not talked about enough sometimes. Because I mean, like, I grew up with a mom who's super tomboyish and brothers, so it's like, we never talked about that kind of stuff. So when it came down to when we had to, I was so embarrassed and so awkward. I'm like, I don't want to even talk about it. And it's like, yeah,
I grew up with brothers, and my cousin grew up with sisters, and so when I asked her about it, she's like, oh yeah, absolutely. And it was an open conversation for them. And so just know that you're not the only one, and someone will have a hair tie, someone will have a tampon for you. And
if you have brothers, find chick friends, because I didn't have cousins either. They were all guys also.
Oh yeah. And I had to teach one of my friends how to use a tampon.
I've had to do that too.
Yeah, like I literally had to.
I mean, not in the same stall or anything, but like on the phone, like.
Oh no, I like straight up taught her how to use a tampon. I was like in the bathroom with her. I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do. Like, you know, I mean, her mom wasn't around, so she didn't, like, her mom had passed away when she was younger. So, you know what? She asked me to. She didn't know how to use it, and I said, all right, girl. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
I mean, so point of the story is, yes, there's always someone there to help you. Always someone with a hair tie, always someone with a tampon or a pad. There's always going to be someone there, and don't be afraid to ask, because as a female, we've all been through it before, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Do you guys remember swim PE? Like in high school, did you guys ever?
We didn't have
that?
Yeah, we didn't have
Yeah.
some PE.
Yeah, I remember like a lot of people were really awkward about it because they're like, oh, what if it's that time of the month and like,
Right.
do you skip? Like, how do you do that? What do you say?
Yeah, we didn't have a swimming pool in my school, so.
Yeah, we didn't either.
Really?
Mm-mm.
You guys went to school in California, right?
I went to Folsom.
Yeah.
Oh.
I went to Oak Ridge, and ours we used the community center right across the street.
Oh, okay. That
We
makes
used the
sense.
community
Actually, I lied. We did have swim. I'm pretty sure.
I think
Yeah,
it's
'cause
a
we had-
California, like,
Yeah.
you have to have a...
No, I do remember that now because we had to learn
We
how
had a
to.
community center, but we didn't have to swim.
Really?
For PE, no.
Oh yeah, we had to learn how to what's it called?
Doggy paddle?
No,
Not
but like
drown.
Paddle? Oh.
to what?
Tread water.
Tread water. Thank you.
Not
and we
drown.
Had to, I remember, but we had not basically tread water, not drown. Same thing. But you know what? I do remember that now, looking back, and I remember
In high school, they teach you not to drown?
no. Yes.
Maybe start earlier.
But also,
It was your, like, freshman year. You had to take swim PE.
also you had to do it like for 5 minutes straight, and I remember freaking out. Like, what if I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
Folsom
pass?
definitely didn't do that.
But also, yeah, I remember too. That was awkward because some girls were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm on," and some girls actually did sit out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone knew why
I
they
know.
weren't sitting out.
So
Which didn't make
awkward.
it better.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh, growing up, being a girl, it's fun, isn't
Gosh,
it?
no. I think middle school might be the worst time as a girl.
Yeah.
Middle school?
But
Yeah.
just don't think that you're alone. is
No,
the other thing.
I think that's the problem is that you think you're alone.
Yeah, and I think like all the girls should talk about it. Like,
Yeah.
talk about it with your friends and like don't be embarrassed because most likely, I mean, you heard me. I shared how many embarrassing stories today. Like, it's okay. Like, we've all been there. Like, we're all going through the same thing. So talk about it with your friends. Share what you're going through because most likely they're going through the same thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And embarrassing stories are going to keep happening, too.
Oh,
It doesn't
yeah.
end. Yeah. Not at all.
Totally. Well, any other final thoughts? Any advice? What's your best advice for our young listeners to do with any of these topics? Hair, sports bras, acne, tampons, PMSing, anything. Okay, silence.
I thought someone else was gonna go. I feel like the kit that we said is something that's really good to have.
Yeah.
I always have tampons like in my car because I don't carry purses ever.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like having at least
Backpack?
somewhere.
Carry backpack?
I do, but I don't have them in my backpack all the
So
time.
at least have them somewhere.
Yeah, because it's like I'll put them in my backpack when I know I'm starting, but I always have them in my car. So like if a friend needs them, or I feel like we're getting to the age where people don't need them as much because you can just go to the store. But
Right.
yeah, it's never good when you need either.
Always
And the hair
good.
tie thing, I feel like I don't know what happens, but at some point in life you have to buy more hair ties. Why is it they all disappear? Like the whole package disappears. I found mine recently because I lost a hair tie and I was like, oh, look at that. I'm like,
So put them in
Adult.
that emergency
Yeah.
kit so you always have them and you know where they are.
yeah,
I always tell my sister, I'm like, do you throw them away? Or like, what? Because we just...
I didn't even have sisters. I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah, I guess just leave them on that little like cardboard thing that they come
That's
on.
what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you lose that whole thing?
Well, not anymore. But when I was a kid, I never knew what happened to them. Because I'm like, I swear they were in this, because you don't need them often. So it was like, what
But you
drawer
do.
did you put them in? Because I keep the same hair tie for a very long
Years.
time. Yeah.
Years.
Yes.
Lucky.
I don't know. You forget where you put them. I think that's the key, is that if it takes so long to need them again, that
Yeah.
where did they go?
So like we're saying, that emergency kit
Yeah.
is very important.
Yes.
Hair ties, Advil or Motrin or some
Backup
sort of
sports bra.
backup sports bra
Yes.
maybe.
Find one you like,
Tampons.
buy a second one.
Yes,
Leave it in the emergency kit.
definitely. Definitely. Because, hey, you may go to a game and forget it.
That was
Yeah.
the worst.
Yeah, I think my advice would be like what we just talked about. Talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it with your friends. Find someone you trust, whether it's a girlfriend you can talk to it about, whether it's your mom, whether it's a older adult lady friend, whoever, like your grandma, like
Sibling.
whoever, like siblings, yeah. Whoever it may be, like an older neighborhood girl, like, I don't know, talk to someone, some female about all these things. Because like we talked about, she's most likely been through the same thing. Or even if she hasn't been through it, she'll still be able to probably give you some advice or help, whatever you're going through.
Yeah, and I feel like with the internet nowadays, you can Google a lot more than we could
Very
as
true.
kids. Like, you didn't have, Google, like, why is this happening to my body?
Very true. Yeah, I remember I had like a book going.
Oh my gosh, my parents
No,
gave me a book
the
too. My
Amer-
mom gave me a book too.
The American Girl book. I got the
What was it
American Girl
called?
book. Yeah. And it was about, I forget, but it was about like,
I don't know, I got a puberty
Yeah,
book. That was my mom's way of handling it.
Yeah,
Here's
same.
a book.
same. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's
Luckily,
why it also made it more awkward, because
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this book?
yeah, luckily we
I don't
now have
read.
Google, so.
Yeah. Hopefully your mom won't give you a book.
I feel like TV shows nowadays are so much more open about a lot of
True.
topics now too.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Any other advice?
Just know that your body's doing different things, and literally roll with it, and you know, don't let it stop you. If today feels really hard and emotional, tomorrow won't. So just trust that it will get better.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, like Megan said, don't let it stop you, and still be the best you that you can be, and
Yeah.
everything's gonna be okay. You're gonna keep going through changes. I mean, I'm 23 and I still feel like my body's out of whack sometimes, but
Definitely.
that's just being a part of a human being.
Yeah. And it's going to pass. Like, you might have a story that you think is the most embarrassing thing ever, but people aren't going to remember.
There's
Yeah,
someone that's done it worse.
Yeah, there's someone that's done it worse. Just remember, Nikki B.
100%.
here
Just
for you.
remember my stories that I told you guys today.
Yes. And so, I think that's huge, is like understanding. I mean, you go through life, like, experiences that are super hard, and regardless of what it is, it's always going to pass.
Definitely. All right, ladies. So, final question. I didn't ask you guys this the last time you were all on the podcast, but this is my favorite question. What does playing like a girl mean to you?
You may start.
Michelle, you want to go first?
Haven't I answered this?
Not
You
with
can answer it
us.
again.
Okay. Not with us. What does playing like a girl mean to me? I think playing like a girl means, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm like on the spot. I've had to hear everyone answer this question behind
Yeah,
the camera.
your
Now
answer
I'm,
has to be
on the
really good
spot.
now.
I know. I'm like thinking of all the good ones that were on the top, like that people had. But for me, growing up, playing like a girl was always a negative thing, because I had brothers, I had cousins. It was like, you can't play with us, you're not good enough. It's like, well, I'm small, I don't know what to tell you. But I think what it actually means is like determination. I feel like females have an incredible passion for what they do, and they have more strength than people realize, because we are built differently, but the things that women can do with that, and the sports they can play, and the fact that women can go be, as in golf, even though golf's a man's sport, I think that's an incredible thing. I think it's so cool to watch women have the opportunities they have nowadays, because in the past they didn't have them. So I think playing like a girl is just passion and just straight baller.
Love that.
You ready?
McKenna, what about you?
So, I mean, we kind of touched on this, like, this podcast and last podcast, but just, like, being your best you and not letting anyone tell you that you can't do something, because you can do anything that you put your mind to, and it doesn't matter if the goal is, like, I don't know, crazy or whatever. Kind of like in that Colin Kaepernick commercial where I forgot exactly what he said, but just basically being the best you that you can be, and achieving goals is like, it comes from you. So, yeah.
I like that. And I think too, it's like in the last time we all chatted, it was being confident in who you are, and not trying to definitely be competitive and be a competitor and work hard, but don't compare yourself to other people in ways that you're setting yourself up for failure. So when it says play like a girl, I don't necessarily think it's don't play like a boy, but it's just play like you, be you. If you're a female, that's, you know, play like you would, like you want to, how you would. And I think the confidence thing goes a long way, and also understanding that you're going to be different from any other female, you're going to be different from the boys, and that's okay. And, you know, be the best you can be.
I love that. I've loved both of the conversations that we've had, especially this one today. I think it's so fun. We got to talk about topics that aren't talked about all the time, and it kind of goes hand in hand with having confidence, our last, conversation that we had. Just owning who you are, accepting it, knowing that you're okay, you're going to get through things. Everyone's been there before. Just being confident, being the best you that you can be, and having determination and passion all the way through in everything that you do. So thanks for being here today, ladies.
Thanks for
Thanks for having us.
All right, Plag listeners, make sure to share this episode with a friend who you think will enjoy this podcast. I'd love to hear your feedback and thoughts on this episode, so head to iTunes to leave a review. You can also send any questions or topics you'd like us to cover by sending us a DM on Instagram at PlayLikeAGirlMP. We want to know what you want to hear. Before you go, screenshot this episode and tag us at PlayLikeAGirlMP so we know you're listening alongside us. Thank you so much for listening to episode 8 of Play Like a Girl. We hope you come back for more. Once again, I'm Nikki B, and remember to never stop playing like a girl. Yay!
You play ball like a girl!
Game, a diamond in the dirt.